Prayers.
Sorry, thank you. Almighty God, who in thy wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of men, we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor us thy servants, whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this land. Let thy blessing descend upon us, here in this house assembled. Grant us that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, to promote thy honor and glory, to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country and of those whose interests thou hast committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Please sit down. Thank you.
Communication from the chair.
Thank you. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs and your team. We are here today to begin the debate on the 2020 draft estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia, 1st January to 31st of December 2020, excuse me, both days inclusive. As we are all aware, the debate and consideration proper could not proceed on Monday, the 25th of November, 2019, as was initially scheduled. This was as a result of a motion by this August Assembly invoking Clause 84 of the Standing Orders for those parts of the draft budget relating to matters or ministries for which they have responsibilities to be referred to the relevant committees of the National Assembly for proper scrutiny. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a bad cold. Accordingly, various committees of the National Assembly went into session from Monday to Tuesday, the 26th of November, 2019, to consider the estimates of the different sectors. At the appropriate time of the consideration stage of the estimates at the Committee of Supply, the various committees will report and guide the Committee of Supplies relating to the draft estimates of their ministries. This is as far as possible in line with the standing orders. Once again, honorable members, may we all note that certain clauses of the standing orders relating to the draft budget and the annual estimates cannot be implemented immediately due to the fact that the clauses have already been overtaken by time and cannot be implemented retrospectively, particularly Clause 84, subclauses 2 and 3, dealing with the FPAC reporting. In order to meet this requirement, and due to the constitutional time limits, we will start the debate today and allow all chairpersons to submit their report to FPAC by Friday, latest Friday morning, for consideration in accordance with the standing orders. And I am glad to, for consolidation in accordance with the standing orders. I am happy to report that some committees have already finalized their reports, and we commend them for that. Thank you very much. At the Committee of Supply on Friday, the 29th of December, each committee chairperson will guide the committee on each budget entity for consideration by the whole House. Finally, honorable members, the agenda for this session has been revised to reflect these developments and other necessary adjustments. Now, the Committee of Supply, to consider the estimates in detail, will start proper on Friday, the 28th of November 2019, and committees will provide their summary reports accordingly. Maybe if we are able to complete the debate and consideration by tomorrow afternoon, we can immediately start with the Committee of Supply to just save time so that it will give us more time to at the Committee of Supply stage. And I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you. That's
Correction, Madam.
I think we are all agreeable. Honorable Clerk, can we?
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I don't seem to understand you well because you are saying all committee chairs should submit their reports on Friday. And this is what you have said. Now you want us to go on Committee of Supply on Friday. How? I think that has to be submitted first, and before we go to Committee of Supply. I don't know. I don't understand.
It is submission to FPAC.
Yes.
It's submission to FPAC. They will be consolidated and given to each honorable member. Everybody will have a report of education, agriculture, the different sectors. You will be adequately briefed because you will have a set. Everybody will have a set. I indicated earlier, yes, I indicated earlier that I am happy to report that some committees have already submitted theirs. So maybe before the end of the day, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, other committees would have completed their work. We are constrained by time, Honorable. We have to, we have 14 days as per the Constitution.
Yes.
That is our constraint. So we have to work ahead of time. Thank you very much. Or was it Woolley West? I thought you wanted to come in.
No, I think essentially you have said what is to be said. I think you have said what is to be said, so I don't need to add anything. I was going to explain to him, but he has understood what we were explaining to him.
Thank you.
Correction and approval of records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, 25th November 2019.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 25th of November 2019 is before us for consideration and approval. Can any honorable member please move that the said records be considered and approved? Yes, honorable member for Jara Central. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I rise to move that the correction and approval of record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, 25th November 2019 be considered and adopted.
Thank you very much. Any seconder? Nyamina East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you very much. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 25th of November, 2019 be approved. Any issues or observations from honorable members? We start with page 1. I believe the records have already been circulated. Can we start with page 1? Is the attendance correct? Everybody's name? Yes, honorable member for Cantora.
Thank you. Just correction to number 25. I am absent, but I'm captured present. I was absent then, but captured present as well.
Anything on page 1? Any corrections Okay, then. We'll take your observation on page 2. 25, yes. Any more? No? Yes, thank you. We move on to page 3. Yes, Woolly East.
But if you look at the last paragraph, second line, page 3, where you said the Honorable Speaker informed that the sitting, the spelling of the sitting, you've mentioned S-E-A-T-T-I-N-G instead of S-I-T-T-I-N-G, right? Oh, that's...
We're talking about the seats.
But at the end of this...
We're talking about the seats, not the action of sitting, which is the verb, I think.
The last line, you change the spelling of sitting and put S-I-T-T-I-N-G.
Yes, we'll correct, I think.
Well, that's the correction I want to make.
The second one should be corrected.
Yeah, they should be the same.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that all on page 3? Page 4? Yes, Woolly East.
Page 4, again, the last paragraph. Second line. After orders, standing orders, moved a motion to commit those parts that should be of the draft. We should put off the draft.
Of the draft 2020
estimates of revenue and expenditures relating to the matters of, instead of all, of ministries for which they are after they are responsible instead of responsibilities. You see? And then
I think the standing orders indicate matters or ministries. You see, these are a new set of
matters or ministries.
And yes, we are trying to keep to the wordings as far as possible to the language of the standing orders.
Okay.
And the language used is matters or ministries.
Matters or ministries.
Or ministries, yes.
For which they are.
No, but instead of they are, you can say for which they hold responsibility. For which they hold responsibility. Instead of they are responsibility. For which they hold responsibility.
Phrase it better. Any more on page 4? No? Page 5 then? Yes, Woolies?
If question put and agreed to, first line.
Sorry.
First line, assembly, we put August. Then commit those parts of the draft instead of those parts draft. Yes, and yes, those are the two there that I have discovered. And then after the ayes have it, the paragraph under that, the draft 2020 estimates of revenue and expenditures of the Republic of the Gambia was committed. There should be a was committed to the relevant committees. Right, thank you.
It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, the 25th of November, 2019, be approved with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Can we now proceed? Thank you.
Motion.
I already had a list.
Consideration and debate on the draft 2020 estimates of revenue and expenditure of the Republic of the Gambia.
Honorable members, the 2020 draft estimates of revenue and expenditure was tabled by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs and seconded by the Honorable Member for Upper Salum on Monday, the 18th of November, 2019. Therefore, we are to commence the debate on the said draft estimates today. In view of that, any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may raise his or her constituent tag to be recorded and will be given the floor accordingly. I had already started this on Monday. However, before allowing any honorable member to take the floor, I want all of us to remind ourselves of the scope of debate under clause 30, subclause 1 of the standing orders, which reads, debate upon any motion or amendment to a motion or upon any bill, part of a bill or amendment to a bill shall be relevant thereto, except in the case of a motion for debate on the adjournment of the Assembly. In addition, clause 86, subclause 6 of the same standing orders guides us on how to debate on the annual estimates. And it reads, the debate on the motion shall be confined to the estimates and the explanatory statement. I would therefore wish to appeal to honorable members to respect and observe the said clauses of our own standing orders. And I thank you all. Now I will call on the honorable member for Sami. I had already had your name down. Thank you. Can we still have the tags so that, yes, thank you. You have the, okay, thank you.
Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, this is one of the most important sessions as far as Gambia is concerned, because it affects everybody. So therefore, this is not for an individual. It is for all of us. Let us all look at it critically. The things that are going to favor our electorates, we go in for that. We are not here for an individual. We are here for the people. So therefore, let's look at that and move forward. Honorable Speaker, when we look at the budget, we are told that the total revenue and grants 2020 is 24 billion. And the total expenditure, we are told that is 30 billion. So my question to the Honorable Minister is that, how are we going to get this fund from? Because our revenue or our expenditure is more than the revenue. Where are we going to get that funding from? Honorable Speaker, when we look at the draft estimate 2020, page 18, the departmental overview, anything that I always want to start with education because it is the key to success. That's why I always prioritize that. When we look at education, last year it was 3.6 billion. At least 3.0 something billion. At least this year there is little bit increment, 3.6 billion. Agriculture, there is some drop in that. It's about 2.4 billion. And health also, there is little bit drop on that. And if you look at this, they are the most important sector. We should invest more on education, agriculture, health. Because when we look at education sector, there are so many issues. Yes, we know that definitely. The department is trying a lot. We know that. But notwithstanding, we also have constraints. There are gaps. We want at least those gaps to be closed. This is why we always advocate more in education and other areas. Honorable Speaker, this is page 37. If you look at page 37, Office of the President. And you will realize that last year, the president visit to the provinces, it was 10 million. But for 2020, there is zero on that. I don't know whether next year there will be no president visit to the farmer store. And very sad, this amount that is allocated for this, when it is time for that, they go and tell every alcalos you pay certain amount. So what is the essence of this budget line there? What is the essence of it? So I think it should be reduced. Hence people are, contributing. It should be reduced. It is not there yet. It is not there yet.
Madam Speaker, point of observation. I think honorable member is going out of line.
Observation. It is for the honorable member to allow you to make an observation.
Please. I'm sorry. Your time, when it comes, anything that we want to say, you can say it. I'm the man in charge. Yes. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Madam Speaker, I will go to our own itself. That is the National Assembly. I'll go to our own self. That is parliamentary oversight, expense of committees. Last year it was 3 billion. 3 million. Last year it was 3 million. And this year it was 10 million. I hope it is, because this is the most important aspect, oversight, for committees to go out and make their findings. I hope we will see the impact of it. If we are unable to do more oversight functions, when it is increased, I hope there will be nothing like there is no fund. I hope that will going to solve the problem. Honorable Speaker, let me go to agriculture again. I always say that when we talk of agriculture, it's not only crop production, it's crops and animals. And if you look at the crop production activity, page 76, crop production and productivity. You look at it, In 2019, it was 33 million close, and 2020 is 28 million. But look at the livestock sector. There is reduction on that. It was 20 million 2019, and 2020, 18 million. So I'm saying that there should be an increase, because since colonial days, we are talking about this. And I always say that agriculture is the backbone of the country's economy. When you go the other side, you don't see the benefit. Try to look at, I know that this year they have come up with this small ruminant production. Yes, I know that they have come with that. Okay, Madam Speaker, let me look at education also. I don't know where they put it, but for me, I don't see it. School feeding program. It was 90 million last year, but this year there is that. I don't know whether they have changed the scenario of it. It is my opinion. What I see, that's what I will say. Yes. That's the way I see it, that's the way I will say it. So I want clarity on that, whether there will be no school feeding, or if it is going to be, where it is. You look at school improvement grant, page 85. Education, page 85, school improvement grant. That one also, there is an increase on that, because last year it was 33 million. This year is 52 million plus. But the issue there is always late for payment. And what caused that late payment? Okay, still the same education. Furniture and fitting. Provision of lower basic. Furniture. Page 85. Furniture and fitting. Provision of lower basic. To me, this amount is too small, 5 million. 2018, there was no budget line for it. And 2019, there was no budget line for it, Madam Speaker. If you go to schools, you realize that children are sitting on the mat. Some they are sitting on sticks. So to me, this is too small. To me alone, it's going to be 10 billion. We add another 5 to it. Madam Speaker, looking at health, as I said, it's only 2 billion that is allocated for health, which is very, very small. We have so many issues in our health sectors that need to be fixed. So, honorable members, let's try and put more. I know the health committees, they have done a lot. I'm not there, I don't know what they have come with, they will come with it. But I hope that maybe they will come with a very important thing on that. Because looking at the health issues in this country, especially at the rural areas, is a cause of concern. Madam Speaker, let's go to the workforce budget. Workforce budget, Office of the President. I don't know what are we going to do with these 6 advisors. 6 advisors, what for? 2 is okay, Honorable Speaker. We are crying of fund. We are increasing. Let's reduce it. If you look at even, I don't know what's, if you look at the same page, what special allowances they are talking about. Civil servant skill allowances, cost of living allowances. I will go back a little bit to National Assembly. All these allowances that these people are creating for themselves, what do we have? We are paying our own drivers. We are paying our own drivers. Nobody is paying for our drivers. And these people are creating these so-called allowances. And you know that I cannot drive myself to my working places. They are saying responsibility allowance. Who should have a responsibility allowance? More than the National Assembly members, Honorable Speaker. These cars that we have, no maintenance cost for it. These so-called allowances, let us cut all. We look at allowances that are genuine. The rest of the resources, we keep it. If not, we will not move further. Even workshop we have, our drivers are not paid. We take it from our pocket, we give it to them. When orders come, we approve for them. And everything, the way you make your bed, that's how you lie on it. That's for the honorable members. This is why I started with saying that let's look at what favor our electorates. Things that does not favor our electorate, let us say no to that. And if you look at these allowances that I'm saying, you go to other ministry areas, yes, we are public servants, but you go to other areas, these civil servants allowance, other areas, other ministry areas, they don't have it. And they are saying civil servants allowance. Why others have it, others don't have it? If we are creating allowance for civil servants, everybody should have it. If clothing allowance. Yes, all what I'm saying is the same thing that is here. Hmm? Yeah. So you look at defense, page 39. You look at defense, page 39. Look at this, corporal, 15 million, 2019, 15 million. Armed Forces, 15 million. And 2020, 35. Look at that. We want an explanation of all those things. Honorable Speaker, let me go to Works, Ministry of Works. This is also is an important part because all of us here, we are always saying that we want good roads. We want good roads. We have to look at their budget critically and see areas which we know that it needs increment, we increase it so that the 400 kilometers that we are talking about, because it's not yet, this 400 kilometer road that they are talking of, it's not yet implemented. So how can we have it? We try and look at their budget. If necessary, we increase it. But also, our meeting with the line ministries is very, very important, Madam Speaker. This thing should have been done earlier. I know it is very prompt this year, but I'm sure next year we will be able to do it properly. It is very effective. Sit with different ministries, discussing their budgets. It is very, very important. There also, if you look at their process of fuel and lubricant, page 78, works. It is 1 million, and 2020, 1,500,000. I don't know whether they have new cars or what. And maintenance of vehicles in 2018 is 800, and 2020, 840, an increase. So, Madam Speaker, the most important sector also is youths. But it will be very disheartening when you go to youths, you see. They reduce all their budget lines, most of their budget lines. And we are always talking here that we want to see that youths progress. And we are not putting anything in youths. We are not putting anything there. If we have gone through it, I don't want to say what we have discussed on. Because if I say that, that means that I'm trying to reveal. That's why I'm coming up with my own destiny. You see? Because I don't want to reveal what is there. But I will say the current, what is there right now. It is not favorable. If it is here, that is the time we will look at it and change it. Because we don't want our youth to suffer. So, Madam Speaker, as I said, I must thank all the honorable members. This budget is not for an individual, it's for Gambians. Let's look at it critically. Let's look at it critically. Before we will say, had I known, and had I known shall never be known. It shall never be known. And I still go back. That's where I'm going to end it. Paying your own driver, maintenance of your vehicle. Even our drivers, sometimes they are annoyed of us. Yes, they are annoyed of us. Simply because no encouragement for them. At least this 2020, if we all cannot come together. We create something for them. But at least when there is workshop, let them at least have some. Let them have some. That's going to motivate them. But just leave them like that. The resources that we are having, the little that we have, we pull that from our pocket and give it to them. And others are calling themselves responsibility allowance and other allowance. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Ilyasa.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. May I say assalamu alaikum, everybody. Honorable Speaker, I have gone through the next minute, but really I was disappointed, and I feel so embarrassed, simply because the content is not favorable the lay people, especially farmers. Because when I go through, if you go to page 67, the Minister of Finance, and I was very much disappointed. And with all the intelligence and full of graduates in that ministry, if the Minister of Finance is allowing in 2019 the water, electricity, and civil, there was about $30 million, Madam Speaker. And that's a joke. If we paid $30 million for 2019, I was thinking that in 2020, they will reduce it. But I'm not blaming them, because somebody who knows that his preferences is not beyond sorrow, so I don't think we are not somebody for the farmers. That's the hard fact. Madam Speaker, the same ministry, I don't know what they mean by this operating cost. In 2019, it was about $40 million. In 2020, just about $42 million operating cost. What does that mean? Because if you go through there, there is nothing mentioned which is going to the profit the last consumers. Because we pay all these expenses. Madam Speaker, before going further, I am here to declare all the ministries, furniture fittings, printing costs, etc., must be deleted. Because, Madam Speaker, if you go to the same ministry, printing cost from January to December, $18,000 for printing cost. Madam Speaker, I think the Finance and Fiscal should try to revisit their expenses so that at least the farmers will be able to enjoy. Madam Speaker, I was even disappointed. I have gone through several experiments. What I saw there, people are preferring, they are doing this Kinklebar and others. But in the experiment, they put $120,000 for tea and coffee. That's an insult to us as a farmer. If somebody sitting in the office under AC and estimates $120,000 for tea and coffee, well, that's an insult to the electorate. So, Madam Speaker, and if you can allow me I want another explanation. If you go to page 67, attribute to 125, 25-11104, 25-11105, bilateral and other aid and subvention of addition from 2018, it is about 240 million. Okay, from 2019, it's about 250 million. And 2020, almost 500 million. I think what I'll say, I think the Minister of Finance and Fiscal, they should go back and do their homework properly so that you're able to cope with them. Because according to the content of this, it is not have any benefit for the poor people and the large consumers. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bintang Karanlai.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. Madam Speaker, my intervention will primarily based on the funding. Madam Speaker, government plans to spend 30 billion in 2020. And the projected revenue is 13.6 billion. And this means there is a gap of $16.4 billion. Madam Speaker, really I'm concerned and worried about our fiscal state of this nation. Because considering the gap of 16.4 billion, mainly from budget support, loans, including the domestic borrowing. Madam Speaker, during the minister laying of the estimate here, he informed us that 3.4 billion, I think, yes, was projected for 2019. And this was not materialized, sorry. And he said this is due to slippages. I don't think, Madam Speaker, this is enough explanation. We need more explanation. What is the cause of these slippages? Who is responsible? Why does it happen? Why those owners held their money? I think we need that explanation from the minister. And this year also, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Minister wants us to approve 2.7 billion budget support. We need to have an explanation from him why he will want us to approve this $2.7 billion. Because what measures is he taking, or does he want to take to mitigate this? Because 2019, 2.4 billion does not materialize. So before I approve 2.7 billion in 2020 estimate, I think we need an explanation on what was the cause of 3.4 billion that did not materialize. Madam Speaker, still on the financing budget, the minister also informed us that 620 million. You want to raise on government assets. You want to raise 620 million on government assets. And these are mainly 100 million from asset disposal and 500 million from oil royalties. What are these government assets? We want to know. If these are lands or other fixed assets, I think, Madam Speaker, would you realize the 100 million within a year? Can you raise that within a year? Can you have the market to raise this 100 million for the disposal of government assets within a year? We need to know that. You need to give us the assurance. And also, I think, Madam Speaker, I have seen in the minister's budget that these 500 million oil royalties, they start leasing some of our reserves. We need to know how they are leased. Madam Speaker, the other item is the external borrowing. The Honourable Minister talk about the external borrowings. I think the Honourable Minister have to give a detail of who these multilateral and bilateral donors are and what are their general conditions. We need to know them because they are not detailed. He just talked about this external borrowing. So we need to have a clear understanding about it. Madam Speaker, going to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, as my colleague has alluded, I think, Madam Speaker, Minister of Youth is under-budgeted. And we all know that youths are the backbone of each country. And if you are saying youths are the backbone of each country, if they are not prioritized, I think, and now we are talking about this Bagwe syndrome, and we want to do away with the Bagwe syndrome. And if the youths are not catered for, what they can do, they have to go on this Bagwe journey. So I think when you go to this sovereign institution like National Youth Council, NDA, that's NEDI, President Award Scheme and other skills, I think they are really under budgeted when you go through this budget. Last year, what is budgeted for them? I think they reached up to about $10 million, and I don't know the reason. The minister has to explain what is the reason. We need to prioritize the youths, because whatever we are doing, we need youths. In any sector, we want to involve, you have to involve the youths. So I think youth should be #1 priority of the nation, if not. So, Madam Speaker, going to the foreign affairs. Madam Speaker, last year we talked about the foreign affairs. Look at the budget. There are 6 on the list. And the NDP, we know that which ministries are prioritized. But in the budget, it means the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is one of the priority ministries. So, and we talked about downsizing some of these embassies. Look at the ministries, the embassies. They are too much here. Since last year, we are talking about let them downsize. We need the minister to downsize these ministries, embassies. Last year, he said that if you want to downsize this ministry, bring it back. Those staffs over there is very costly. This is why it's not easy downsizing embassies. But also, if you are not downsizing and every year you are budgeting to them, it will be more higher than bringing them. So I think it's better for us to try to downsize these embassies. Madam Speaker, also when you go to the budget itself, the recurrent budget, you go to President Office, Honorable Member of Sami has also lamented on that. That is the President visit to the provinces. I need to know where, because this is a constitutional requirement, and it's not captured this. I don't know where they want to have the phone, or they don't want the President to go to visit the farmers, or they have another source where they want to. And also, going back to the Office of the Vice President, Madam Speaker, upkeep of the Vice President's residence, for 1.5 million to 3.5 million, I think we need to know why the huge increment. You go to the same ministry, Vice President Office, training, from 35 million to $101 million. I think the minister should explain why this huge increment also. And also you go to Independent Electoral Commission, focus of fuel and lubricants, from 100 million to $800 million. This also is a huge increment. We need to know why all this increment, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you go to National Audit Office, travel expenses under general administration, from $2 million to $14 million. And also go to the same National Audit Office, travel expenses under regulatory audit of $1 million to $24 million. I think we need to know all this increment by the minister, why all this huge increment. Madam Speaker, we go to the Ministry of Interior about law enforcement and crime prevention. You see, the salary was increased by 6 million, but you see, the allowances are increased by 62 million. I think salary goes with allowances, but if the salary is increased only by 6 million, and now the allowances are increased up to $62 million, I think we need an explanation from the minister on that also. Madam Speaker, on the Ministry of, Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you go to the Embassy of Brussels also, the same thing. The allowances are increased more than the salaries. So I think you need to explain this to us. Some of the embassies, it happens with some of the embassies and some of the ministries, the allowances are more than the salaries. We need an explanation to this. Madam Speaker, without wasting more time, I will end here because we will go on to community. We will meet with all the line ministries, and I think we have gathered some information with them. So when you go to community supply, we can put us on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am happy that you are cognizant of that fact. Thank you, Honorable Member for Talinding.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I will also like to add my voice to the previous speaker and give my support to this second most important document after the Constitution. Madam Speaker, I would like to draw the attention of this Honorable Assembly to page 43, Independent Electoral Commission. I would like the Honorable Minister to explain why we have this huge amount of allocation for IEC when the approved budget for 2019 was 29 million and the estimate was 41 million now. I would also like to draw the attention of the Assembly to page 44, National Audit Office, from 51 million to 156 million. Madam Speaker, National Assembly, I think we have now graduated from juvenile assembly to a real assembly. Our allocation was 13 million and this was cut to 3 million. Can the Honorable Minister explain why? Under National Audit Office, we have acting allowances and professional and non-practice allowances, which was never allocated to National Assembly. I know Audit Office is an independent body, but let the Honorable Minister explain why National Assembly is being treated like this. Madam Speaker, under health, according to reports during our oversight function, we realized that maternal death unit has told us that 65% of the deaths are caused by anemic. So I think the government needs to venture more into health. But on the secondary and tertiary health care, the amount of allocation was 469 million. If I may propose for the minister to cut from official exert and hotel accommodation under health, which was 3 million, and it was adjusted to 850 million. If we can cut the 5 million from the official exert and add it to the secondary and tertiary health care, because we need to strengthen the demand of social service in order to map out this crisis of anemic patient or maternal death. Madam Speaker, going by the development budget, under the project, under Ministry of Trade, I raised a question during question and answer here, whereby I asked the minister that the tar road in Talinding did not have a street light, and he gave a promise that it would be captured in the 2020 budget. But I saw the budget line where we have road constructions within the greater Banjul area, and going by the manpower budget, nothing was captured in my constituency. Can the Honorable Minister help me to shed light on that? Madam Speaker, the last but not the least, I want to come on the judiciary, where we have these children's courts in all the 7 regions, and the allocation. I want the Honorable Minister to explain why we have all these courts within Mansa Konko. We have the children's court at Birkama, Mansa Konko, Basse, Janjambure. So I don't know why. Whether we have a serious crime rate of our young ones, why we